Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to another video. Now it's safe to say a lot of WWE fans are getting sick of this Bray Wyatt storyline. They feel that the build is far too slow and they're losing patience because they feel like it's the same old format where Bray comes down to the ring, speaks, gets interrupted, appears backstage, has a psychological breakdown and so on and so forth. And many people feel, for the lack of a better term, that Bray just needs to shut up and wrestle and get on with it. And I can understand certain areas of the criticism. However, you've got to remember that most people criticising this Bray Wyatt storyline aren't fans of Bray Wyatt. They've never been fans of Bray Wyatt. And so you've got to take that with a pinch of salt. However, there are still some loyal Bray Wyatt fans that are doubting the current storyline. And what I wanted to basically cover in this video is why, if you're a Bray Wyatt fan, you shouldn't worry, and this is going to be a huge payoff and this is going to be well worth the wait. So just strap yourself in and get ready for the ride, because it's going to be awesome. You've got to remember, this time around, Bray Wyatt has 100% or close to, alongside Triple H, who we trust now, in creative. Before, he had Vince's voice in his ear, manipulating his decisions, changing creative last minute. We saw WrestleMania 37 and the changes last minute, allegedly on the day. Like, that doesn't happen anymore. Everything that's playing out at the moment in front of our very own eyes is under Bray Wyatt's liking, to Bray Wyatt's taste. Like, that is what we're seeing. Like, the way this is paced out, the way this is playing out is how Bray Wyatt wants it to be delivered. Also, look at who he's working alongside. Triple H, the master of the slow build storylines. If you go all the way back to Triple H's wrestling years in 2005 and the Batista Triple H angle, Triple H, behind the scenes, was adamant that they held off on the Batista turn, choosing, of course, to face Triple H. Vince McMahon wanted immediate action, but they opposed that, and Vince listened to Triple H, and guess what? The payoff was huge, and we had that iconic moment where, of course, Batista gave the thumbs down on Triple H, picked the Raw contract, challenged him at WrestleMania 21 and beat him. And it was all worth the wait, because we as fans were getting to the point where we were just like, come on, just attack Triple H. And of course he did, and it felt so sweet afterwards. So as much as this isn't a direct comparison, we want Bray Wyatt to put on a mask. We want Bray Wyatt to go back to the dark side. We want him to destroy people on the roster. Because we want that even more and more, when we're waiting even longer, it seems to take longer to play out in our minds. But actually, the reality is, it's only been 8, maybe 9 weeks since Bray Wyatt's returned. It's not been that long, considering he's had to address the absence, establish a new dynamic and a new change in his character moving forward, and of course now addressing the baggage of Vince McMahon's car wreck of booking. And you've got to remember that Bray Wyatt has had a tough hand dealt to him. He's had a bad hand. He's come in at a point where Roman Reigns is top of the tree, the Bloodline's the main storyline arc, and also Alexa Bliss was already involved in a storyline when Bray Wyatt returned, being part of Team Bianca opposing Damage Control. So you had to wait until that played out, i.e. after Survivor Series War Games, until they could heat up the Alexa Bray angle, which they're now doing. So give him the benefit of the doubt. Timing wasn't really on his side when he returned. And so we can't assume immediate action. And one of the main criticisms we had of the Fiend character was not the gimmick, it was the way it was booked, and it was the way it was forced down our throats in the main event title scene, when he didn't need to go straight into it that soon. And look how that panned out. They don't want to make the same mistake. Bray, Triple H and creative don't want to make the same mistake with this Bray character. They don't want to push him straight into the main event title scene. I'm happy to see him sort of take on the mid-carders and then build himself up, because we're establishing something new. Also, look at who he's feuding with. Look at who he's elevating in LA Knight. LA Knight is coming out of this current feud with Bray Wyatt, smelling of roses already. People are comparing LA Knight to a young Rock. I mean, what greater compliment than that? And it's because he's able to showcase his promo skills in front of the master himself in Bray Wyatt. And he's holding his own, isn't he? So LA Knight is going to come out of this amazing. Like, he was part of Maximum Male Models under the guidance of Vince McMahon as Max Dupree, and now he's LA Knight. And not everybody, we can't be naive to assume everybody's watched NXT and knows who LA Knight is. If you have, you know how talented he is and how much charisma he has. But now Bray's getting that out of him. One of the criticisms of Bray in the past was when he was in a feud, especially with the Fiend gimmick, that nobody would come out better off. In the words of Seth Rollins himself, not many people, with the exception of maybe Daniel Bryan, came out of a feud with the Fiend better off. But LA Knight is already coming out looking good. So you've got to remember that Bray is elevating people around him in this build of this character, equally answering the questions from the previous mess of character booking before from his original run. So there's a lot going on and we just need to be patient. Honestly, just take our time. I love the fact that this is probably going to end up in a singles match between LA Knight and Bray Wyatt short term at Royal Rumble. Protects Bray Wyatt in the Royal Rumble. It means he's not going to get eliminated. It means he's going to be booked strong. Yes, he's probably going to beat LA Knight. I love the fact that they're exploring a different match type potentially. There's talk of a pitch black match. I like the concept of that because it's something different. How it's going to play out, I do not know. I'm assuming the name gives away the fact that it's going to be in the dark and then occasionally the lights come on when you don't expect it. It sounds like an absolute car wreck, but I'm sure Triple H and Bray and LA are going to make this work, and it could be absolute magic. We could come away thinking, what a match. That could be the main talking point from the Rumble. So there's lots to look forward to. This is a psychological arc. Got to remember we're we're in December now, and this is really, when you think of December now in the wrestling world, you think of Brody Lee, rest in peace, you legend, and there's going to be some form of tribute from Bray Wyatt on the part of Brody Lee. You've got to think, maybe even character-wise, maybe like the spirit lives on in a ghost character such as Uncle Howdy, but maybe the better side in tribute to Uncle Harper. He's the good side of Bray potentially, and maybe he gets revealed on December the 16th. Next week's SmackDown in tribute to Brody Lee, and they were holding off on that because they wanted it to be in respect to Brody. Like, who knows? There's a lot going on, and also Bray's been wearing a brace lately, so maybe he's injured and hasn't been able to wrestle, and maybe the plan was to wrestle at Survivor Series War Games. Eagle-eyed viewers will notice that it's the same leg that was taken out in the Hangman game, so maybe it's a storyline work. We can't just assume we know everything. We can't just assume everything's mapped out to perfection. Maybe they've had to improvise. Maybe there's other members involved that contractually there's some issues getting them into WWE at a time that they expected. So maybe they're having to improvise and hold off. We don't know. There's so many questions still to be answered, and we've just got to let it play out. We've got to be patient. In this world, we just want an immediate payoff, and it doesn't always work out like that, and sometimes the best things are worth waiting for, and I truly believe it will be worth waiting for whatever happens in this storyline arc. But I'm just saying, if you're a Bray Wyatt fan, just be patient, be trusting, he's gonna deliver. Thank you so much for watching the video. As always, been really appreciative. If you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new, and we'll catch you in the next one.